I just woke up, so this is being recorded right now in the morning, and I'm gonna edit this and then post this later in the day today. I did something stupid back to like the first 10 seconds of the video. I've recorded pieces of the movie in the theater. Like I was in the theater with my, like, y'all should have been seeing my facial expressions. I was like, with a phone in my hand. I was like this, recorded with my phone, and I was like, what the fuck? And I came home and I had like a midlife crisis with my mind. I don't know what the hell happened to me. And I just cleared out my whole phone. I deleted everything out my phone, including the footage, knowing that I need this for YouTube. Knowing that's what the point of this whole thing was.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
I
see what I'm saying?
I thought...
No, so, you know what I'm saying? That you done fucked up now, you know that, don't you?
The point of me going to the movies was for me to watch this movie, get pieces of the footage, and come home and talk about it, cap it off perfectly. And I messed that up. So today, I'm going to sum up this whole thing. I'm going to sum up the movie, and I'm going to sum up the 1930s blues era and why I like this movie and the connection between the movie and that and stuff that actually was happening in real life. So, to be quite honest, there's going to be minor spoilers ahead in the movie. So, what that means is drop a like, save to watch later, go watch the movie, come back, and then you can watch the rest of this video. Last night, we went to go see Sinners. And to complete the vibe, you gotta watch that movie at night. For certain movies like those, for lit movies like those, you got to watch that night. So when we were booking a ticket a few weeks ago, I was like, you gotta book the latest time. So she was like 10 o'clock. I was like, no. Even later than that. 10:40 was the last one. So we went for 10:40, and it was at IMAX too. So we had the big speakers. Everything was just louder and more enhanced and more, you know, grabbing you. That was fire. So I had a great experience with the movie. I had an amazing experience. I loved everything about the movie. There's no part of the movie that I didn't enjoy. I loved every second. And y'all know how I feel about this decade. Well, for the new people, I gotta explain how I feel. But for the people who've been watching for a little bit now, y'all know how I feel about this decade. I don't like this decade. So if there's a project that takes place in history and something that's actually pretty good with a cast that I know for years, yeah, I gotta talk about this. I have to. You know, you already know I love history. With that all being said, let's get into it. I don't have the intro, so I just start talking. I enjoyed this movie. I think this movie was a masterpiece, and I can see that the ratings on it is high. The ratings on this was high Thursday, so the premiere. People were like, this is fire. And then yesterday the ratings is high. And today I can see the ratings went a little higher today. And everyone's saying good things about this movie. You know, social media is enjoying this like how I am. Movies like this is exactly why I want to be a movie director. I love art like this. I love artistic value, creativity, because you're mixing history and you're mixing facts and you're just putting it all together in one. And with fiction, with a good cast and interesting storytelling and art, I enjoyed everything about this film.
Michael, what does it mean to you?
It means so much. I mean, not just for me, but for the team and for the whole city.
This is probably one of my most favorite films of the decade. Like, I like this. I like Maxine that came out last year because Maxine's the 80s. This is the 30s. I like a couple things that came out this decade, but I really just I feel so departed from the world. So when I have something like this and I see people enjoying this, I feel like, hey, I gotta talk about this. So the movie, and this is the minor spoilers coming up ahead. The movie basically is just a house party in a cabin during Jim Crow era, segregation, the Great Depression, playing the blues at a house party. And you already know how they call the blues the devil music, you know, Satan's music. So when you're playing the blues you're conjuring up these spirits and these entities of these demons, and they basically come and invade this cabin, this party. That's basically this movie in a nutshell. So it's a horror, fun, fictional fest, you know? But I enjoyed everything about this. I think that this was a solid film. The first half of the movie is them setting up for this party, and you could just basically see like the main characters that they're all introducing in the start of the movie. And then like an hour down the movie, the mood just flips and you see the vampires show up, and then it leads into them going to party and have fun, and then the vampires getting all the people to go attack this place and then just taking them out one by one by one. Everybody's freaky in this movie. The hell? The vampires is freaky. The humans are freaky. The cast is goated. Sammy is cool. The twins is cool. Mary is cool. Hailee's bae. That's another reason why I wanted to see this movie. Hailee's a bae. And I did not know that. I thought she was lying for the. I thought that was just a character. I thought that was Mary that made up that. I didn't know. When I Googled this, I actually was surprised. I was like, wait, she's telling the truth? I swore I thought that was just the character that she was playing in the movie. I didn't know that was for real. But all the characters in this movie is freaky. Like when the vampire was talking to the Chinese girl and spoke Chinese to her, that's a demon. How you know everything? You know everything. And as the movie go on, you see that these vampires are dark. They're evil. They're demons. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to it. They're demons. Because they start, chanting the Lord's Prayer. They dance to music like they're in hypnosis. And you know how Satan loves to dance. Satan's superpower is music. That's why when you become a musician, you have to sell your soul. Another connection with this movie. You have to sell your soul. And you're conjuring this darkness up with playing these music instruments. And I enjoy it. I just liked it, That music scene, when all the eras of the music and it was all playing together, when Sammy was playing his blues, it went from blues to jazz to rock and roll to metal to 1991 hip hop to 2000s hip hop, all mixed in one. Yo, that shit sounded so magnificent in the theater in IMAX, because we got big speakers next to us and speakers all around us with the bright, huge screen. So you're just like in it. My eyes was so wide open. I was like, it felt like I was getting hypnotized. I don't know. Satan and the demons, they know the Bible. That's why they hate it so much. They're not stupid. They're aware of all this. They know what they're doing. So when they started rechanting and reciting the Lord's Prayer, the prayer that we all grew up hearing, and then they started to say that we're more than man. We're more than man and woman. We're more than man and woman combined. We are with the one that fell to earth. We are under the earth. They were saying all types of stuff. You just got to pick up the imagery that he's saying. Yeah, the Lord's Prayer, the Lord talks about sinners and all this, but you sin. It was like, basically like he was calling them hypocrites. Everyone's sinners and everyone's dark. So why not just join the dark ones and live forever? That's what basically, like, we had a goated theater too. We had such a lit theater. Like during the intimate scenes, I was like, but the people next to me, like my guy who was sitting next to me, when Sammy was getting down with the girl, he was like, like a proud dad. He sounded like a proud dad. He was just like, I was trying not to laugh because I didn't want him to think I was laughing at him. But I was like, God damn, Sammy going crazy. He like the movie didn't survive. That's why I'm so mad that I deleted all that footage. I wasn't supposed to delete any of that footage. I messed up. I don't know what happened to me last night. I went through like a midlife crisis. So I'm just going to have to just edit the photos in. But that's basically like off of everything I can remember with this movie. That's just everything in a nutshell. Like the graphics is good. The vampires are cool. Their fangs is cool. And their eyes is cool. The girls are sexy. Like everything about it is lit. Because I love female vampires. My fantasy is for a female vampire to get me. So Hailee would have gotten me if I was in this movie. I didn't think that they were going to introduce not introduce, but bring up the segregation. I thought that this movie was like a fictional timeline and they were just going to ignore segregation and that it was just going to take place during the 1930s. But when they started mentioning the Ku Klux Klan and saying the N-word and bringing in the truth, obviously that's our history. Obviously, this is a history movie mixed with fictional tactics, basically saying how the blues had introduced hip hop and the blues had created, all these genres of music down the line. I was like, okay, we had to bring in that we had to bring in that unfortunate part of our history, but hey, it's the truth. So, growing up, hearing when people said that black people had created rock and roll and black people created metal, and I didn't understand what they meant by that. But I didn't doubt it too. I was like, that could be true, but I didn't doubt it. So in recent years, knowing more and doing more research, and me, I love every genre of music, and I go back far. I be listening to every decade of music. I be listening to 80s, 90s, 70s. So, hearing that, and now knowing I was like, okay, that makes sense, because the blues, jazz started in the late 1800s. The blues started around the 20s and the 30s. And then as time go on, metal music, rock and roll was the 50s and 60s. Metal music started in the late 60s. Then we have all these multiple genres of metal. You have dark metal, you have black metal, which was like late 70s, early 80s. And then we have hip hop. Hip hop started in 1973. Hip hop was basically like house party remixes at first. They were trying to figure out how could we create a genre and how can we, how could we create something new? So it was like house party remixes with poetry. So if you listen to what they were saying, they sound like they was just rhyming kids' books. And then hip hop by the 80s started to turn different, and then it started to be these diss tracks, then hardcore hip hop, then all these branch of multiple genres of hip hop by the late 90s and the 2000s. And then we have now trap, and then now we have conscious rap, and now that we have mumble rap and experimental trap music and so on and so forth, and psychedelic trap. You see how many genres of hip hop there is? So I love how this movie played with the fact of how hip hop is Satan's music, is all his music. That's why when you are trying to become a musician, you have to sell your soul to Satan. That's his superpowers. He is music. So you have to sell your soul to him. He's like, how you going to try to make something that I'm the God of? So you have to worship him to do music. It's the sad truth. And I love music. That's why when I was listening to the music, I felt like I was being him. I was like, you know what I'm saying? But in all honesty, the movie is just a fictional angle from it, but it ties into some true stuff. The blues led into rock and roll, which led into metal, which led into hip hop, which I appreciate. Also makes references to Robert Johnson, the supposed first man to have ever sold his soul for fame and clout. Even though we have the Faust bargain, which was like the 16 or 1700s. I don't remember that. I don't remember the specific year on that. But that's considered the actual first. But Robert Johnson is considered the first in recent centuries and the first to with music and fame and entertainment. That's what the word I was trying to find. Entertainment. Robert Johnson was considered one of the worst artists to ever exist. And he had the most desperate, he had basically the best reason on why he should sell his soul. During segregation, Jim Crow era, people said that you were untalented. He was desperate. And one day he came across the Crossroads and this guy in a black hat showed to him and he played a tune and Robert Johnson played that tune back and they exchanged guitars and then the guy faded into the darkness, which is Satan. Satan played a tune to him, he played the tune back, and then basically the deal was constructed. And after that night, supposedly, Robert Johnson became the best artist on earth. And he was getting crowds of people, audiences, everyone wanted to see him, everyone wanted to master his influence. And by the late 20s, he passed away. He died. And he died when he was 27, which is also the start of the 27 Club. See, this shit go deep. So any artists that have passed away before age 27 or at age 27 is considered part of the 27 Club, because these are people who are master musicians, master entertainers that may have made a deal with Satan, and Satan came to collect early. So it's a lot. It's a lot with this movie, you know? The 1930s is the blues era. Segregation, it's dark, it's sad. It's a crazy part in history to look at. But this movie is just a fictional tale with it that mentions vampires, but vampires are demons, which connects to Satan. And it's just something fun. It's a fun little project. So I enjoy everything about this movie, you know. I enjoyed the cast. I enjoy everything about it. You know, I can't believe what Hailee has became. Hailee was such a good girl. She's still cool as well. You see her evolution, you know. Michael B. Jordan, cool. All the other actors, you know, I've seen, you know, they're all lit. They're all lit. They're all fire, you know. And Miles, his real name is Miles, but Sammy, this is his first movie role, and I think he did great, you know. Hailee was this singer, cool, good girl in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, and as time went on, she got more roles. So then as she get older, now she doing these heavier roles. So now in 2025, she going crazy. Listen to her dialogue in this movie, and you know what I'm saying? And in that one scene, I was just like, oh my God. With all being said, go watch it if you haven't. CT out.